Grocery stores in some states sell every kind of alcohol possible. Others restrict sales to just beer and wine. Whatever the laws in your state, you should know that there are some alcoholic beverages you should never buy from the grocery store. Natural Light, or Natty Light as it's called by many people, is often ranked as the worst beer in the world. In many people's opinion, it has no business being in your grocery cart under any circumstances. We understand if you are trying to cut calories or save a few bucks, but Natty Light really isn't the answer. This beer has the aroma of corn on the cob left in a musty basement, and even worse, it tastes like you're drinking the water out of canned corn. As you might expect, Natural Light has nothing natural about it, but to its credit, Natty Light does have a claim to fame. It was the first beer launched into space. 2 Natty Light fans built a spacecraft. Well, a styrofoam cooler dubbed the Aluminum Full Can. It was complete with a video camera and tracking device, showing the craft reaching an altitude of over 90,000 feet. Not quite outer space, but close enough.
We're a couple of old-timers. Hello, my man. Looks like we'll be having these 2 old cases of beer today.
Before talking about why you shouldn't drink cheap tequila, let's talk about how tequila is made. Tequila is distilled from the juice of the blue agave plant, which by law must be grown in specific areas within Mexico. The growing cycle for agave is long, with the plants taking at least 5 years to mature. Harvesting agave is also a difficult process, as it's all done by hand. Because of this, making tequila is a long-term, high-cost investment. Pure tequila made with 100% blue agave has a more distinct, authentic flavor. If a tequila isn't 100% agave, then it's a mixto tequila. Mixtos are legally allowed to be created with up to 49% non-agave sugar and still call themselves tequila. Basically, when you drink mixto tequilas, you are mixing different types of alcohol with all kinds of additives and impurities. It's no wonder cheap tequila causes bad hangovers. Bottom line, get the good stuff, and you won't find that at a grocery store. Grey Goose's popularity is a result of good marketing. It was introduced to the American market as a high-quality vodka, and many are convinced that it is. However, not much difference exists between Grey Goose and much lower-priced brands, which is why you should give this one a miss. Most mass-produced vodka is extremely distilled. The result is basically ethanol and water, with not really much flavor to speak of. If you are mixing your vodka with fruit juice, you can't tell much difference between vodka brands anyway. Even if you drink it straight or on the rocks, the very subtle differences in smoothness don't really justify the Grey Goose price point. That was proven by the much cheaper Costco vodka, which has won in head-to-head blind taste tests. Try it for yourself and you'll forget all about Grey Goose and its sexy advertising campaigns. Skip this one and just head to Costco to find the really good stuff. Unless you want a gin that doesn't taste anything like gin, you don't want New Amsterdam on your grocery list. If you are a fan of classic gin, then you probably are not a fan of ultra-citrusy gins like New Amsterdam Straight Gin. However, it's not just the citrus notes that makes this gin a miss, it's also how artificial it tastes. The prominent juniper notes of most gins are missing altogether from New Amsterdam, and the dominating orange flavor is very synthetic. New Amsterdam Straight Gin is cheap, and cheap is good for many occasions. However, it's easier to find a better alternative that's just as inexpensive. If you're at your grocery store and want to grab a cheap and tasty bottle of gin, pick up Gordon's. It's available almost everywhere and has a clean, juniper-forward, classic gin flavor. When it comes to IPAs, the beer must really be fresh to retain its flavor. Hops are just a supporting ingredient in many beers, but IPAs are all about the hops. Light, heat, oxygen, and time can all cause the flavor of hop-heavy beers to diminish rather quickly, which really defeats the purpose. The faster the IPA gets from the brewery to your mouth, the better. Do you know how long that beer has been on the grocery shelf? Best by dates aren't regulated and don't tell you much. Try to decipher the date codes and figure out when it was brewed or bottled if you can. Typically, IPAs will taste fresh in the first 3 months after bottling, but there's a chance it has been sitting on the grocery store shelf for much longer than that. Another problem is many big box grocery chains store beer at room temperature, which isn't the best storage method. In order for them to stay fresh and flavorful, IPAs need to be kept cold, and this all adds up to grocery store IPAs being a big no-no. Just because your local grocery store sells hard liquor, that doesn't mean you need the hardest of all liquors. Does a person really ever need something that's nearly 100% alcohol? Maybe to use as a cleaning fluid, but not to drink.
Delmont Everclear distilled his first batch of 190 proof grain alcohol. He never intended it to have any positive benefit to society.
If you've ever been in college or just gone through your 20s, you've probably heard of Everclear. It's grain alcohol, basically moonshine without that ceramic jug. Many people say they can't taste anything except the burn. Some people say they don't remember much at all after a night with this potent substance. Everclear is 190 proof, which means 95% alcohol. Selling, drinking, or even possessing Everclear is illegal in many states. It probably goes without saying, but the alcohol content in Everclear is so high, you get drunk faster than you could possibly imagine, and it's basically a recipe for disaster. If you are going to drink responsibly, and Everclear is so not responsible. Skip this one if you see it at your local grocery store. If you aren't incredibly particular about your brand of wine, you should buy it at Costco rather than your neighborhood grocery store. You'll save a lot of money, and Costco's Kirkland brand is actually pretty good. Some people believe it's excellent. Plus, with many Costco wines priced at under $10 a bottle, you can fill up your wine rack without breaking the bank. Don't have a Costco membership? No problem. In many states, it's illegal to require a membership to purchase alcohol. Therefore, you can buy alcohol at Costco without springing for the membership. Armed with that knowledge, there's no reason you should ever purchase wine at the grocery store again. When your local grocery store has a big sale on mass-marketed beer such as Budweiser, Coors, and Miller, you know that the beer is moving fast and it hasn't been on the shelf that long. However, when a grocery store puts an unusual IPA or other unique craft beer on sale, you can't be sure why its price has been reduced. Is it because they haven't been able to move it? Should you worry that it's old? If it's a beer which has been intentionally aged, then it's no problem. If it's a dark beer with high alcohol content, then you probably shouldn't worry. But if it's a light lager or hop-heavy IPA, you should be more careful. In this case, unless you are familiar with the brewery's date coding conventions, don't buy it. Old beer can be flavorless at best and foul at worst, especially if it's been kept at room temperature for all that time. And this may be why it's marked down. Don't risk buying beer you'll end up pouring down the drain just to save a few bucks. Age isn't the only thing that can ruin a good beer. Light is also a big factor in how long a beer can last on the grocery store shelves. For this reason, if you're going to take a risk on a potentially old beer, choose canned over bottled beer, because the can keeps out more light. If you hate canned beer, select beer in a dark brown bottle rather than in a green bottle, or worse yet, a clear bottle. A favorite of the 80s and 90s, Boone's Farm still exists and can be acquired for about $3 to $4 a bottle. Produced by E&J Gallo Winery, back in the day, this apple wine product was available in a number of fruity flavors. Strawberry Hill was, by far, the most popular variety for a cheap, sweet-tasting way to get wasted in your college dorm. These days, Boone's Farm can be a little more difficult to find. However, you can still locate it in the bottom shelf of many grocery stores across the country. But just because you can buy it doesn't mean you should. Though now Boone's Farm is considered malt-based instead of wine-based, with all that fruity sweetness, it still delivers a killer hangover. Take a step up in sophistication from Boone's Farm and try an apple brandy instead. Laird's Straight Apple Brandy is a good one. The company has been distilling apple brandy for over 200 years, so they know what they're doing. And, let's face it, it's time to leave those college years behind. Boone's Farm is mostly one more thing you'd rather forget.
We're on double secret probation, whatever that is. We can't afford to have a toga party.
You guys up for a toga party?
Toga! Toga!
Are you getting ready for a party where you're going to need a lot of liquor? Skip the grocery store. Though your grocery store will probably be cheaper than the corner liquor store, you can find a bigger variety and much better prices elsewhere. If you are buying in bulk for a wedding or other large party, try Costco, Sam's Club, Liquor Barn, or even online retailers for bulk deals. Compare prices and find the best prices on your preferred alcohols. Remember, many guests won't care if you serve top-shelf brands or not, and if you're mixing up cocktails, they may not even know. Here's a tip for those times when you need to stock up for a big gathering, and this is one you should definitely remember for the holidays. If you decide to purchase bulk alcohol from a locally owned store, or even a chain where you're a regular, get friendly with the management and ask for a bulk discount. Here's the thing, if you're wondering about the possibility of even buying something like a bottle of Smirnoff at your local grocery store, you may or may not even be able to. The laws for buying alcohol vary greatly by state, and sometimes even more so by county or city. Review your local laws before you start searching the shelves for your favorite bottle, and you might save yourself some time. In some states, it's a free-for-all at the local grocery, and others, not so much. In Delaware, North Dakota, and Rhode Island, you can't buy alcohol in grocery stores at all. Not beer, not wine, not any kind of spirits. In Kansas, Oklahoma, and Utah, you can buy beer, but no other alcohol, and the beer has to be 3.2% ABV or less. In other states, it gets more tricky. Some have rules about the ABV, others have rules about the days of the week you can buy alcohol, and still others have more restrictions on holidays. Some states don't even allow alcohol purchases on Election Day. Bottom line, do some research into your own state's laws before you head out. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more list videos about your favorite food and drink are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.